Kittle has gotten off to a slow start this season, and I think it's made it easy for people to forget how absolutely dominant this guy is with the ball in his hands. Kittle is second in the league behind only Rondale Moore in yards after catch per reception among all players with at least 15 targets, and has insane upside every week. He saw a season-high 9 targets in Sunday's loss to Green Bay, and Shanahan would be smart to keep him busy in Week 4's divisional showdown against the Seahawks, who just got gutted by Tyler Conklin for 70 yards and a touchdown on 7 receptions. PFF grades Seattle's pass coverage at 24th, while Football Outsiders has them even further down at 27th. The 49ers have a robust 27.5-point total in a game that boasts the third highest total on the week at 52.5 points, and San Francisco's backfield is so banged up / ineffective that Garoppolo could be forced to throw a lot for the second straight week. But ultimately, I'm not down on Kittle quite yet, and you shouldn't be either. He's still playing 100% of snaps each week and ranks second in yards per route run in the league behind only Travis Kelce at the tight end position. Maybe I'm naive, or maybe I'm just dumb and ignorant of the situation, but it feels like Shanahan would be wise to use Kittle more consistently when he's one of the most talented pass catchers in football. The touchdowns and red zone targets should come, and so should the fantasy production. You drafted this guy in the 3rd round because he's a beast, and you have to start him this week in a plus home matchup against Seattle. Clyde Edwards-Helaire broke out for his first big game of the season in Sunday's loss to the Chargers, topping the 100-yard mark on 17 carries while catching 2 passes and a touchdown, which came inside the 10-yard line. He now has 2 targets and 2 carries inside the 10 for the season, which is encouraging, even though Darrell Williams has the lone goal line carry. And while Edwards-Helaire has fumbled in back-to-back games, Andy Reid hasn't gone away from him, seeing that he received 11 carries after the fumble and was trusted in the red zone. The one thing that always scares me with Edwards-Helaire is Kansas City's offense is generally so efficient that many of their scores come from outside the red zone and nowhere near the goal line. Still, he's on an elite offense with an MVP quarterback who effortlessly creates yards. So ultimately, Edwards-Helaire will reap some of the rewards. He could definitely see a big workload and hopefully an equally sizable fantasy score on Sunday when the Chiefs head to Philly to face an Eagles team that just got annihilated by the Cowboys in primetime, surrendering a combined 155 rushing yards and 5.5 yards per attempt to Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. Kansas City has a sky-high 31-point implied total and are 7.5-point favorites on the road, which sets Edwards-Helaire up beautifully to enjoy both volume and efficiency on Sunday. And I'm not a narrative guy, you guys know that. But Andy Reid coached in Philadelphia for 14 years and is still loved by the fans.
Mics are hot. All right, I'll stop saying all the bad stuff about every other provider. I'm sure they're listening. And we are live. Welcome to the NFL Strategy Show Lineup Construction Edition. It's week 4 in the NFL. It is Friday, October 1st as well, which I can't believe this year went so quickly, considering last year sort of felt the same way for me. But here we are. Either way, I am Josh Engelman. I am joined once again by Steve Buzzard, dacoltz. No Alex Baker this week once again, still enjoying his newly married life. Don't worry, Alex, that will go away soon enough. Either way, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Steve, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. I was warning Alex I'm coming for his role here, so we'll see if how well that works. But yeah, great weekend last weekend. Had a pretty good week overall. Just missed some really big payouts, but I do know one of our subscribers last night on the Showdown slate, a guy that I've been talking to quite a bit, Richie G. He's had a huge win last night, so good to see a 500K takedown.
Yeah, I saw the dual split for the Millie last night. I, in my tweet prior to the beginning of the games, went with a play less CJ Uzomah, which unfortunately did not turn out to be the play for me. Could have went for the play more, but look, that's one of those things where he's in the middle of the tier. He kind of needs that sort of game to be able to be in that spot. You're going to need both of those touchdowns given his salary, but not a lot of people also had that lineup. The lack of dupes wins out, and yeah, he's $500,000 plus richer. So kudos to him for that one.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm jealous. I had a decent night last night. I love playing Showdown, cash in particular. It's been going pretty well for me over the past year and a half or so. Would never have expected that I'd be playing Showdown cash as aggressively as I do, but it's been great. It's, to me, I think a lot of, and we could slide into this FanDuel cash discussion as we do it, because I think it's mildly comparable, but I think it's really easy to just allow other people to make some mistakes when it comes to cash, particularly in Showdown. I know, like, I know that I came to my lineup. I spoke to Adam, Ship My Money. He came to that same lineup. Ultimately, when I get into some of the bigger single entry double ups, I start seeing that lineup coming from more and more of the pros. So it lets me know that I'm on the right track. And if I'm there, and if I think that Adam's there and a couple other pros are there, I assume I'm on the right direction. And so far, that has been a great process for me.
Yeah, I think you hit a good point there. Let other people make the mistakes. That's generally my philosophy for cash games, and it's a way to, especially to break a lot of ties as well. So if you have a guy that you think might be high owned and he's missing from your lineup that comes up, or vice versa, a guy that's low owned, that's probably the one of the few times that I'm going to make a pivot from what might be the optimal.
Jordan B in chat says 2 straight showdowns with a low owned tight end going off. Yes, 2 straight showdowns, in fact, that I specifically recommended to play less of that low owned tight end that went off. So that's been really great momentum for me over the past 2 events. I'm getting constant people popping into the Twitter DMs or replies, just being like, oh, great job, another day with another miss. It's like, we're just going to judge this based on one single name. There were 15 names in that tweet. We're going to skip the rest of it that all worked out really well. What are we doing?
Of course.
Here? Either way, let's touch on this quickly. Schedule for the rest of the day. Very important, because we have a ton of shows coming up. At 1 p.m., Awesemo betting show on the Awesemo Odds channel, Eitan and Ben. Then at 2 o'clock, Eitan Laffy and Matt Savoke have got the Awesemo Fantasy Football show on the Fantasy Football channel. Yahoo NFL show at 3. Prize Picks College Football show at 4. MLB Deeper Dive, that will actually be me back at 5 o'clock with Ship My Money. MLB Live Before Lock at 6, and then College Football Live Before Lock at 7. We have a live show going at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 o'clock Eastern time today. We have become a legitimate channel of sports and DFS. It's really exciting to see. So if you're looking to get any Awesemo content today, boy, are you in luck, because the rest, you can block off the rest of your day and put in a full shift. We also have free content coming out today. MLB top pitchers, the NFL big board, and our MMA rankings, all free. So if you're looking to play in either one of any of those sports, if you're prepping for MMA tomorrow, MLB tonight, NFL on Sunday, we've got some free content for you. Today, though, we're kicking it off. FanDuel cash build. Steve, are you ready?
All right. Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like everyone's going to win a lot of money today, and we'll continue it over the weekend here with this FanDuel build.
So first guy that I'm looking at right now, I think is probably going to be the first guy that we're putting in here. But I will say, we don't have any like knockdown, drag out, obvious FanDuel cash plays right out of the gate. Alvin Kamara is currently projected to be the highest owned player. He is also the highest in our optimal percentage based on our boom bust tool. My assumption is that Alvin Kamara is going to be a cash play, but it's not as if he's just on a different level or $1,000 underpriced. Would you agree that Kamara is probably the first guy in, but not necessarily like just flat out obvious?
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. The one thing that I noticed when I was building a couple of them is the salaries are pretty tight. There's a lot of guys that I want up top for this cash build anyways. It gets a little bit different in GPPs, but from a cash perspective, I think Kamara makes a lot of sense. The major problem why I don't think he's necessarily a slam dunk that you have to play right now anyways is because of guys like Kelsey and Tyreek and Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones. I think all of those guys are pretty legitimate as well. So I think we can plug in Kamara, but yeah, I would say he's not like a 100% must-have type guy.
Do you see anybody that is that kind of guy today?
I think probably the guy that I was looking at maybe the most, and it's not even his ownership isn't even that high, but it just kind of made things work pretty well, was Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
So Jalen Hurts, against Kansas City, I feel like he's going to have to throw the ball quite a bit. Again, just like last week, they only ended up with 3 rushing attempts last week. So that was pretty unusual. I'm not sure the last time a team had that low for running backs anyways. He had 9 himself. But I think that they're going to use him quite a bit again. So he might be my favorite play, but even him, he wasn't coming in 100% of my top lineups. So I think both of those 2 guys are good ones to start with.
Josh Allen is actually the guy that I'm getting the most. He is obviously 8,500, so you're paying a pretty healthy price tag for it. I really don't have a feel for where I want to start. Just running an unencumbered crunch. A lot of Josh Allen, a lot of Mike Davis, a lot of DJ Moore, a lot of Devontae Adams, a lot of Darrell Henderson, and then it starts to become a bit of a grab bag. So I'm going to give it to you. First person into this lineup, who is it going to be?
So Mike Davis was another one that I had really high. So I think we're in a pretty good consensus on him.
Okay.
So I think that looks good. It doesn't feel very good because he's been pretty terrible so far. But his price is just so cheap for a guy that's so heavily involved in the offense. And eventually that offense is going to do something. Whether it's this week against Washington, we'll see. But that one feels pretty safe and a good saving, to get all these other guys that we've been talking about.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead. We'll get Mike Davis into that lineup. Do we go with Jalen Hurts now with the knowledge that we can upgrade him in the future if we need to a Josh Allen or a Pat Mahomes if need be, if we have that extra salary?
I think we could do that.
Okay.
And those are the other 2 that I like. So I think that makes a lot of sense.
Replying to producer extraordinaire behind the virtual glass, Chris Karen, we've got a poll coming up for you guys to see which team we'll be stacking on DraftKings. I'm going to go ahead and keep running my crunches by locking Jalen Hurts, by locking Mike Davis, because I want to see what we can actually do. There's one other running back that we can be a little bit cheaper on. Do you have any interest in going to Hubbard in cash?
Hubbard. I think that's legitimate. He is coming up in a few of mine. 6,300. That is pretty good price, and his ownership is good. I guess so we got him at 6,300, and it's a play between him, I would say, and Antonio Gibson. I think we want with Mike Davis probably one of those 2, and then probably one of the higher guys, either Kamara or maybe like Aaron Jones or something like that. So that's kind of how I'm thinking. Okay. So if we went to a lower Aaron Jones, we could go to higher Antonio Gibson, a lower Hubbard for Kamara.
What's your first take? What's your feel there? What do you? I'm willing to defer to you on this one. I really find building this FanDuel cash lineup to be difficult, so I want to defer to you for a bit.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see if any value comes up, as we go, and then that might help things out. But as of right now, I think I might lean the Gibson Aaron Jones side. Okay. Aaron Jones is just getting so heavily used. Finally, it's been the thing that we've been waiting for years. It feels like. So I think we could take advantage of that. And then Antonio Gibson continues he's kind of like Mike Davis in a way where he's been a bit disappointing to start out the year, especially in the way that they're using him in the passing game. But I think everyone before the season kind of thought he was going to be super involved in the passing game, but so far that's not been the case. But against Atlanta, that's a pretty good spot to go with.
So I locked Aaron Jones right now. Assuming that we lock Hurts, Davis, and Jones, the next guy showing up the most for me is Aaron Jones's teammate, Devontae Adams. Now, I know Alex has talked previously on this show that he doesn't have a problem with having the running back and pass catcher from a same team in a cash lineup because we're really just sort of covering most of the bases from scoring. You expect Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams to make up a large share of any sort of touchdowns that are coming in for Green Bay. Are you okay with going to a Devontae Adams in this lineup with Aaron Jones?
Yeah, I think so. I think that makes a lot of sense. Just for the reasons that you talked about, it'll give you a better chance of getting one of the touchdowns, or 2 or 3, or however many the Packers score, right? So especially how concentrated they are. It might be a little bit different for a team that spreads the ball out a lot more, but those 2 guys are going to get the majority of the touchdowns. So I think that's a good play.
Hurts, Davis, Jones, and Adams. That leaves us 2 wideouts, a tight end, the flex spot, and defense. $6,200 remaining for each individual spot. Obviously a little bit higher once we go to the defense. Do we want to just lock in a defense? Is there someone that stands out more at defense for this particular week for a cash play?
No, I have quite a few that are up there.
I basically, like, with no randomness whatsoever, I cast a gigantic net of either garbage like the Jets or the high end options.
Yep, the same. I think the Dolphins are pretty good.
Yeah.
Do they come up pretty good for you?
Yeah, they were 4th, but for all intents and purposes, the Jets were 1st, and then everybody else was kind of packed together. But Rams, Falcons, Dolphins were my 2, 3, 4, but they're all separated by basic.
Yeah, the Jets, I think, are, if we absolutely had to go that route for cash savings, it's okay. But they're one that I do get a little bit hesitant on in
for sure.
In a cash game. In a tournament, for sure, I will play them. I actually like them pretty well in tournaments, but for a cash game, I do worry a little bit because they're the Jets.
Well, I'm happy to go to the Dolphins. I think that makes a lot of sense. So let's go ahead and lock them in. That way we know what we have left to spend for the rest of this exercise. So if we fill defense there, $6,800 for 2 wideouts, a tight end, and a flex. We definitely need to get a wideout here, since we need 2 of them by default. Let's go ahead and grab them. If we lock in the Dolphins and continue our path of trying to pick some of these teams, DJ Moore is the guy that's popping up the most for me now. $7,300. He's significantly better priced on DraftKings. We'll probably talk about him in a little bit. Are you comfortable with DJ Moore? Do you have other wideouts in mind?
Yeah, I think DJ Moore is really good. His ownership is pretty good too. So he's one that I think a lot of people will go to, and that makes a lot of sense. Dallas has been pretty bad on defense. So
yeah. All right, DJ Moore, locked and loaded. We're slowly but surely getting these pieces put together. The rest of what I've got, a lot of Deebo Samuel, a lot of George Kittle. We've got Travis Kelce sneaking his way in there. Anybody standing out left to you now? Wide out, tight end, flex.
Interesting. So I have Kelce over Kittle, but I haven't reran with the guys that we have right now, so we may not be able to get to Kelce as well.
We can. I'm running 50 lineups every time I lock in a new person.
Okay,
just to see what's there. Kelce is the guy coming up the most. You're not going to hear me complain once about.
All right, yeah, let's do Kelce. I think that's good. I think we love playing Kelce. At least I do. So.
I never regret it.
Can't go wrong.
Even if it goes poorly, like it's not.
You're like it's probably still the right choice.
Yeah, exactly. So if we get Kelce in there at the tight end, we've got wide out and flex, $5,850 remaining. Starting to get a little tight.
What?
So we've got Darrell Henderson, Hubbard.
Oh yeah, we should do Hubbard. I think that makes sense if that leaves us some salary. We kind of talked about going that route if we needed the salary. So
and if we go to Hubbard, my top remaining play would be Jalen Waddle, which I don't think works for us as well as we want it to.
Yeah, Jalen Waddle.
We do not have a ton of salary remaining. By putting in Hubbard, we have $5,400 left. I think we're going to need to take some sort of haircut somewhere.
Okay. Yep.
Open this back up. Is that
so?
Kelce?
Did we have Antonio Gibson?
Is there an alternative do we drop down further from the Dolphins at this point to try to free up additional salary?
Oh yeah, I think any of those guys right under the Dolphins are fine. That you were talking about the Rams, I know are right up there for me as well. The Saints are fine, but I don't think that's going to help us. That's the wrong way.
Yeah, like if I take out the Dolphins,
Giants.
Jets Robert Woods is an option. Giants Cole Beasley is an option. Beasley against the
I like that
the
one.
Bills. Yeah,
I like Giants Cole Beasley. Yeah,
let's test it out and see what it looks like.
Beasley has been like getting so many targets. He's not going to have a high upside, but he'll be a great cash game play.
If I put in Giants and Beasley, value ranking greater than 90%, contrarian ranking less than 10%, I think we just hit a cash lineup.
Yeah, that one sounds pretty good. I like it.
Yeah, to me, that looks perfect. Let's see where I have the raw total. My optimal was 134.8. This one's coming in 134.4. I think we're pretty happy here.
Yep, that looks good. I
One
like
down, everybody. An easy outcome in the end. I think we got to what we wanted to, but not a natural build this week on FanDuel at all.
Yes. Yep. I agree. Normally it's the other way. It's DraftKings that you have the trouble with, but
absolutely.
But yeah.
Right, so we got the poll running right now. That's going to be the stack that we use for this DraftKings GPP construction. But first, I got to talk a little bit about the presenting sponsor of this show. That would be Jock Market. They've turned fantasy sports into a stock exchange. You don't have to wait until the end of the game to make your money. You can sell off your shares immediately if you would like, whether that's NBA, MLB, NHL, PGA. You pick up shares of these guys in the pregame IPO phase, and then you can buy, sell, or hold during the game based on whatever is happening. You can also short players too now, which is a fascinating mechanism. If you use the promo code Awesemo when signing up, just head to the App Store, download the app. You can get up to a $50 bonus on your first deposit. This offer is exclusive to the Awesemo community. You don't want to pass this up. Don't pass up the free money, everybody. Up to $50 is $50. Yeah, that's the goal, to get more money. This makes it really easy. Go check out Jock Market if you can. What do we got winning this poll? Ooh, I was going to say it's a runaway, but it's not totally a runaway. The Bills lead the poll, win the poll, we'll say, 43% of the vote. Rams second, Niners third, Seahawks fourth. Just so everybody knows, these were 4 of the 5 highest leverage scores from our top stacks tool. These are the teams that I'd be looking to build into a larger field GPP. So it looks like we're going to a Bills stack this week.
I think that makes a lot of sense. They have our high, Josh Allen has our highest boom percentage also. So that's really good.
Let's go ahead and get it started. Obviously, we're going to Josh Allen here. The question then becomes, what is your preferred stacking combo? And do we bring somebody back from the lowly Texans?
So I think you could potentially, like, the thing I was saying with Cole Beasley is he doesn't typically have the huge upside, but his price is pretty low. So I think he's fine as a stacking option. I definitely think we want to get Diggs in because that's who we're going to want to go with. I might lean to just one guy though, just because of the Houston. I don't know if Houston's going to keep it as close, maybe.
Yeah, that seems like a safe bet that they don't.
I think the spread is like 16 points or something like that. So
it is mad. We have the scores as 31.75 for the Bills and 15.25 for the Texans.
So I'm using them in some of my survivor leagues. So let's hope that stays true. But I would say we should run back Brandon Cooks because they are going to have to try to keep up. So okay. I think that would go with that.
Yeah, and Cooks is getting some ownership. He looks like one of the few options you would actually want to play. This is where it gets really staggering. Here are the projected fantasy points for everyone in the lineup that I see on the screen. 5, 4, 6, 4.5, 5, 5, and then Brandon Cooks at 18.
Yeah.
One of those things is not like the other. All right, so I'm going to lock Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and Brandon Cooks. We've got our stack now. We could be open. Like if we get to this later on, we have a wideout spot and 5,400 left. I think slotting Cole Beasley back into that and doubling up on the stack is there, but I don't think that it's necessarily a guarantee. You're hoping that you're getting a lot of receptions out of Cole Beasley. And if this game goes the way that it could, those receptions might not be happening all that much in the third and fourth quarters.
Right. Yep. That's my concern, but I agree completely.
All right. So we don't have any running backs yet. Who are some of your preferred running back options for GPPs this week?
That's a good question. Let me bring those up. Oops.
This is another spot where Alvin Kamara is pretty close to the top here. Jones, Hubbard, all that stuff looking good still.
Yep. I think all those are good. What about David Montgomery? I think he is kind of interesting against the Lions. It's one of the few times that that game might have a good positive game script for him.
Grades out really well in the boom bust tool. High boom score, ownership a bit lower, showing up as a positive leverage play. That all looks really nice to me.
Yeah, so let's go with him.
Perfect. Let's slot David Montgomery in. Great matchup too, so can't be too mad about that.
Yeah, there's not too many better.
4,400 per spot, running back, wideout, tight end, and flex, plus the defense. The defense, I can pretty much guarantee, is going to be incredibly low priced. So we do have a little bit extra freedom here to move around.
Yeah, that's getting pretty tight already. Should we go to the Jets that you were liking against Tennessee and the other one because they're super cheap, or maybe?
I think we do. And I think we have one more person that we should put into this lineup, at least based on what I'm seeing on the boom bust tool. Darrell Henderson has a 28% boom percentage, 13% optimal percentage, 10% ownership. That feels like a perfect GPP option.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Especially for the lineup that we've constructed so far, because Darrell Henderson, only 5,600, makes it a lot easier to continue to put this lineup together.
I like it.
Rams with a fun fantasy matchup at the very least against the Cardinals. So I'm going to get Henderson in there. That leaves us 4,150. I have a sneaky suspicion we're ending up with the Jets here.
Yep. I would say let's do that just so we see where we're going from there.
All right. Jets in. They are the flat 2K, I believe. They are the Jets as well. Scary spot against the Tennessee offense, but fingers crossed, I guess.
They've got some questionable wide receivers, so they might just have like an offense that it could rely heavily on Derrick Henry and not be a high upside for the Jets, but they also might just be all out of sorts and pass to just not be, might be a pick six or something in there.
If you're still here with us, 310 concurrent viewers, 62 likes. Let's see if we can get that number north of 100. After we put the Jets into this lineup, wideout, tight end, flex, 4,866, 14,600 total, 4,800 for each spot.
So I think a good one that we could go to, although I worry he will be picking up a little bit of ownership.
Okay.
Is Dalton Schultz after his big game the other day. It seemed like he was pretty heavily involved, and he's at 3,400. I think that's a pretty good price point. I think he's a solid cash play. So that also, his big game and his cash play is what's going to worry me, that he might pick up more ownership than what he's at right now. But I think it's pretty good. I have a whole bunch of other random low guys if we need to go to that I like as well. So what do you feel about Schultz?
He was the second most frequent guy that came up as I'm continuing to build these lineups, so I have no problem going to Schultz. That leaves us 5,600 at wideout, 5,600 at the flex spot, and it is a grab bag. DJ Moore, Amari Cooper, Terrence Marshall, Robert Woods, Deebo Samuel, Cortland Sutton, all sorts of different guys that are popping up here. Do you have a priority for one of these last two spots?
I like Terrace Marshall that you mentioned there. I think that's a pretty good one. Continue on our picking on Dallas theme, so we can go there.
I like the idea of having Schultz in there as well. At a mini game stack, if you will, a secondary stack.
Yep, very good point. I think that gets overlooked by a lot of people, so good to bring up.
And if we go ahead and lock Marshall, that leaves us 7,200 at the flex spot. That should be pretty easy to fill now.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that there's some good players I like. Metcalf, Lockett, Ridley. All those are really good plays, I think.
7,200 left. Who is the best play though? That's the question. Highest optimal is DJ Moore.
DJ Moore. Oh, okay. You love DJ Moore.
This is highest optimal per the NFL Boom Bust tool on Awesemo.com. So you, I think, like DJ Moore even more than I do.
I thought you were meaning optimal with this lineup.
I mean, it also is that answer too, apparently, based on his projection. We have DJ Moore projected for 24 fantasy points this week.
Nice. I do like him a lot as well. So I think that works.
He also might be a tad over-owned for what we're looking for.
Yeah. I think Metcalf, that's who I would, I'm going to say I would go with. He's at quite a bit lower ownership. So yeah.
Calvin Ridley available also. Tyler Lockett available also.
Yeah.
Just
I think Metcalf.
For reference. Yeah. I'm not going to try to talk you out of DK Metcalf. How much I can tell you.
Yeah. Let's go with that.
And he hits the 7,200 on the dot, which gives us a value ranking of 60 to 70%, contrarian 30 to 40. So we're at that 100 mark, but I think we might be a tad inefficient somewhere. I don't really know what my upgrade would be here.
I think that's not too bad. You're thinking I don't think
a little low on the value. Like I would want to tweak it if I could.
Yeah. I think it's probably a little bit more of like a Millie Maker type lineup, but I think for a Millie Maker, I think this is still fine. Probably the thing maybe if we wanted to upgrade.
I can say this: if you switch DK Metcalf to Tyler Lockett, we go to greater than 90% value, 30 to 40% contrarian.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty good switch then, and their ownership is pretty similar. So
they're basically both.
I think that looks really good.
So there we go. We've got one bill with $100 remaining. It's as close to an optimal as you can get while still having a GPP availability, 30 to 40% contrarian. I think that works pretty well.
I like
Steve,
it.
We made a half hour just disappear.
It feels like it.
I feel like we were just having a conversation about how my Bluetooth wasn't working, and now all of a sudden our show is complete.
At least now I've got a cash lineup that we can go with. And the other thing I wanted to plug just really quickly here on, as it goes with this pretty well, is we have a new expert consensus page where you can see the rankings for myself, Josh, all of your good content providers that you love to follow all on here, and you can just see what our rankings are for all the players, and then that might help you be able to see who we like in our lineups as well. So that'll be up later today. So check that out. Yeah,
if you're looking for it, NFL Pro Plays, it's Alex, although I don't know if Alex is like actually available this week, but every other week is definitely Alex. Steve, you're there. Eric, Terry, Greg, I'm probably missing some people. Laffy, I believe, too. We got a lot of people popping in and adding their consensus. So when you get a little bit of everything from everybody, you get a pretty solid ranking system showing up on the site. So make sure you're checking that out, everybody.
Yep.
Well, Steve, that is it. Another one in the books. It's been great having you here. I don't know. You might have to fight Alex for this one coming back for next Friday.
I'm going to try.
It's been great to have you here. It's been great to pick your brain, too.
All right. Yeah, it's been awesome.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Make sure you're hitting that like button on your way out the door. We had 100+ likes in the poll, or 100+ votes in the poll. We should get 100+ likes as well. Tons of content for the rest of the day, as I outlined earlier. Good luck today. Good luck this Sunday. We'll talk to you again later.